So in this part of the video, I'm going to get really tactical. And so I'm going to stand so I don't make a mess at my desk. All right. So this is 800 milliliters of water, and it's just filtered water. I like using glass jars because it's probably the least toxic. In order to make Solé water, and I have a recipe on my website, I will link to that. This is a third of a cup. So I'll use this. So I'm going to I'm filling this whole thing with salt. And then I put it in here. You could already see it looks like Solé water. All right. So the reason I like Solé water is because here's my logic in it. Your body will break down salt and food as soon as you eat it. But when the water gets saturated with the unrefined salt, a lot of the trace minerals will release so that you will have more easy assimilation of those minerals. There is no guarantee that when you just salt on your food that you're also getting the trace minerals. Whereas if you use a little bit of this Solé water, then their trace minerals are much higher. So the way to make Solé water is, I think in the recipe we say half a cup or a full cup, and some people have gotten mad that we are making them waste salt, but you can always add water to the salt and then you'll have more Solé water. So what I would recommend is waiting 24 hours before this is fully saturated, and you'll see that it will look like this. And if the water is fully saturated, there will be leftover salt on the bottom. If the next day you wake up and you look at this and there's no salt on the bottom, then the water is not fully saturated. And then you would just add some more salt. So I'm going to just kind of let this sit. So remember, in the table of elements, adding a little bit of salt will help the iodine plus the salt help to remove some of the fluoride and bromide. Okay, so now that we have done the Solé water, we can do the iodine. Now, you don't have to do the Solé water. I know not everyone likes it. Some people feel they get so swollen. What I recommend is this is half a teaspoon. So I would actually start. This is so cool. I'm a chemist. Okay, so I would get a jar or a cup. I would get this. So pretend that this is fully saturated. I would get, you see, this is half a teaspoon. I would start small. Like if you're super sensitive, I would go really, really little. So I would even maybe just do like a couple drops, and then you can add it to your glass. So now you see there's salt water in here. And then you can add more water. So I would just, if you were taking iodine in the morning, so I'm going to assume that you can take 6 drops of iodine. So I would then add maybe 4 ounces of water. So that's 4 ounces of filtered water. Remember, I added a half teaspoon of the Solé water. People use even up to a tablespoon. Since not everyone's from America, I'm going to just show you the size differences. You see, it's pretty big. And then you can add iodine. I'm going to take this so you guys know that if I'm recommending stuff, I will absolutely take it. So I'm going to take 3 right now because I'm going to show you a different way you could take this. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Some people like it better in room temperature water. It's like easier to go down. So cheers. It doesn't taste like salty water because it's not saturated yet. Okay, so I'll continue to drink that. So my kids hate taking iodine. So the other option is to get gelatin capsules. So you can buy this on Amazon and you get these little capsules. Open it up. And then you have to consume this quickly because it will disintegrate the capsule. But I will add, here, I'll add 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So cool. All right, so I'm going to chase this. So I just took 6. So I just took 6 drops in the capsule, but I love this because then it's super simple. And I taught my boys how to swallow capsules really early on so that I could get them to take probiotics. So this again is J. Crow's 2% Lugol's. And if you take the 5%, you'll have to use that website to see how much you want to take. Then I'll just finish this water. So that's how you can take iodine every day. And so I'll add a little bit more salt water so I can detox. Cheers. If you want to get super economical, you can use, and this is the original video, the tincture of iodine. So it's technically a first aid antiseptic. It's pretty cool. I think if you have young children, you could just carry this around, and if they get an open wound, you can put this on. It is 47% alcohol. So if you do not want to do the urine test and you're not entirely sure if you want to take iodine, and if you don't want to even consume this iodine, you can use this, but I wouldn't recommend using this a lot because of the alcohol. If you're sensitive to alcohol, you can't do this, but in our nutritional therapy school, we did learn this. This isn't the most perfect test, but what you want to do is paint your arm. So I really like coloring when I was little, but you can make a big square. You could decorate, you could do whatever you want, but you really want to really color. I'm going to make it a perfect square. Okay. So, or a rectangle. Okay, maybe not. All right. So what you want to really do is make this really, really bright. So the thought is that if you're saturated with iodine, this will not really go away. And then even in 10, 12 hours, you'll still see a trace rectangle or like a trace amount of the iodine on your arm. So obviously let this dry, otherwise it's going to stain your clothes. If this goes away in like 2 to 3 hours, then you are most likely very deficient in iodine. Now, again, it's not 100%, but it'll at least give you an idea. I used to use this on my kids because they couldn't swallow capsules at that point. And so by doing this, I would get them a little bit of iodine. Now, again, there is alcohol in it. So if you're sensitive to alcohol, you have to be careful. So if this is gone in 12 hours, you likely need iodine. And as you could see in Japan, in Korea, it is not just that you need sea kelp or sea vegetables to be sufficient in iodine. I just don't think it's enough. We have so much fluoride and bromide in our world now that it is really hard to have sufficient levels of iodine when really our foods don't have it. Our seas are really depleted of it. And so you just want to make sure that you're taking enough iodine. When you are done with the SOLÉ water, you don't want to add the metal lid. This is technically considered active, and minerals balance each other. They are heavy metals and there's other metals. But so what I use is parchment paper, and I cover the lid like this, and then I just rubber band it. And if you have the SOLÉ water around long enough, it'll start forming salt crystals. So if you see, I just close it up and I put this lid